Hi, this is Zach Mayer with the Bulletin Board Heroes here at Zach's Traders Cafe for Wednesday, the 18th of June, Paul McCartney's birthday. Moving on to the financial markets, and given that we're having conflicts and wars as if it's 1975 now, not 2025, we could say the FTSE is doing rather well. We've got immediate support there at 8,800. We already had the low the other day yesterday of 8,809. Looking for the break of that rather pesky 8,900 level to get us up to as high as 90.20, maybe by the end of this month. On the downside, if there is a rug pull or a nuclear explosion, then 8,700 looks to be the likely support or the logical support for this market. RSI at 62, so not overbought and still capable of giving us a new leg to the upside. Onto the DAX, which has had a problem with the old March resistance, 23,500. That's now becoming resistance at the moment, so looking for an end-of-day close back above 23,500 to give us a retest of the best levels ever, and also the top of that channel there. Now heading rapidly towards 24,900. That may be the target for next month if we can get back above 23,500. The 50-day line there is the worst-case scenario support at just under 23,000. On to the Dow, which has understandably been rather mixed of late. Here, testing the floor of that rising red trend channel there. That's now around 42,200. I've got to allow down to the 50-day line there, 41,284, just in case there is a rug pull as we had in the middle of last month. But the real prize here is that we can stay above, or at least on the right side of 42,000, and head over and break the recent neckline resistance of 43 to give us maybe 44,000 as a best case scenario by the end of next month, especially the way that things are moving rather slowly there. RSI still just about holding above neutral 50, although that little kink in the RSI trace slightly ominous and does suggest that we might have to head down to that 50-day line. Moving on to Bitcoin, where even though we've got Bitcoin treasury companies popping up almost every day, we are not rocketing. We are instead finding support near that rising 50-day line, which is actually not bad, 104,000. Above that, looking for the highs again, 112,000. And the best case scenario, obviously, up to the top of that rising trend channel from March last year, as high as 124,000 by the end of next month. RSI now below neutral 50, so there is a risk of a rug pull to either 100,000 recent support or the initial May resistance at 98,000, but not looking or expecting this market to remain below 100k for any extended period of time now. Moving on to gold, which given the rockets being fired all around the place should be doing rather well, but still finding problems above 3,400. We've had a couple of days above that, but it looks as though we need to see a proper end-of-day close, another proper end-of-day close above 3,400 to give us a journey or the confidence that we can head up to 3,800 and the top of that rising March trend channel by the end of next month. Still looking bullish. Worst case on the downside expected to be no lower than the 50-day moving average at 3,300, and perhaps any dips towards that zone regarded as buying opportunities. RSI at 56 are right in the box seat for a move to the upside. Moving on to the stocks, and sort of covering quite a few, obviously, with two updates a day, which may or may not last in terms of the excitement and enthusiasm there. But Arkle in a rising trend channel base there from October 2023. Top of the channel there up to 0.62, looking for that by the end of next month, on the basis that we've got the 50 and 200-day lines both rising in parallel, and we've broken recent resistance at 0.35, above 0.35, looking for a decent upside there. On to Bezant, which came up with a decent RNS today, and here you can see that we are rapidly approaching our target there at 0.038. In fact, one can be a bit more generous than that and say that the top of the channel is actually towards 0.046, and 45 rather, and we're looking for that by the end of next month, while we're above recent resistance at 0.03. On to one of the stocks of the moment, which is Coinsilium, raising 4 million at 22.5p from memory, and you can see that we've broken all the targets there up to 37 pence. The final dream target is actually up to 51 pence, which I think I looked at last night, talked about last night, And we're looking at that while we're on the right side of 30 pence. If we're really lucky, we can stay above the old 2021 peak, which was actually at 36 pence. So let's see how we go there. At the moment, looking very, very strong with the oversubscribed wrap, as they say. Moving on to CPP, not quite so high profile at the moment. We have had bear trap iron reversal, company sorting itself out and looking for a target there as high as £1.40, while we're above the 200-day line there at 103, so gapping up very nicely and surprising the market. On to Catenai, which had its time in the sun back in April. Looks like we're finally getting back to ready for a new leg to the upside. RSI on 50. Just need an end-of-day close above the 50-day line, 0.37, to give us a move at least up to 0.55, hopefully by the end of this month, while we're above the 0.3 pence level. Moving along to company which I interviewed, or who I interviewed just a couple of weeks ago, and it seems to be doing the trick. You can see the shares are rising vertically. Second target there up to 18 pence, and above that looking for perhaps a final near-term destination as high as 25 pence by the end of next month. But what a great turnaround that is. U-shaped turnaround and also bullish divergence line. Moving on to Earnz, where Bob Holt seems to have worked his magic again. We've got a V-shaped bull flag, looks like a mid-move consolidation ahead of a breakout through 5 pence, looking for 7 pence by the end of this month, and shares rising well, especially with the 50-day line also rising now, which tends to be a leading indicator on the upside. One of the Bitcoin Treasury Brigade, which is starting to rev up again, is Helium Ventures. Here we had our 13 pence target. Above 13 pence, we're actually looking for what seems to be a bit of a crackpot target there as high as 33 pence, but I'm sure the shares will oblige eventually, maybe not at the end of this month, but by the end of next month. So that is the charting situation at the moment. Obviously, previous targets there at 9 and 12 hit very quickly. Moving along to the situation at Invinity, and here trying not to look at the stock actually because it's not exactly the best track record, but we do have the shares within a broadening triangle base. Top of the triangle there at 22 pence. So if you're in that or a fan of that, then that is the potential destination for the end of this month, while we're above recent support, 16 pence. On to Kefi, where the recent rather irrational mudslinging has left the shares at basically at the floor of this rising trend channel. We've had that there since November, and hopefully after yesterday's bounce off the floor of the channel, we've got the floor in there. Above that support line there at 0.5, looking for a return to at least 0.6 pence, hopefully by the end of this month. If you're cautious, you wait for the RSI to get back above neutral 50 versus 43 at the moment. Seascape is next, and here shares rising and breaking yesterday's high after the decent announcement yesterday. Top of the channel there at 58 pence, and that's what we're looking for in coming days, while we're above the old resistance rather at 43 pence. Probably looking for much more than that, but let's see how we do getting up to the upper 50s. Stock of the year, as I keep saying, if only in terms of share price performance, SWC, Smarter Web, and actually brought in a Bitcoin Treasury consultant, which may be regarded as being about a couple of months late, but better late than never. Yesterday's late call, was that we got potential support towards the 220 zone. That line of resistance, the red previous target there at actually 227. So let's see if we can find support there on any dips. And above that, we'd be looking for the purple line again around 330 as an upside target. If you're a fan of the shares and looking for the best targets, it would be up towards 460, which is the top of a rising trend channel in place since obviously the latter part of last month. So that's the black rising trend channel there, but a bit of a bicycle wheel spoke situation going on there with all the movement that we've had in the recent past. Stock which hopefully will copy The Bitcoin Treasury Brigade is TAP Global, and what's very interesting here is that we've got both the 50 and 200 day lines rising very sharply indeed. Don't often see that. In fact, we only saw that we saw that recently with the situation at Tau Alpha, when in the run up to them crossing, there was a very sharp rise. In terms of TAP, looking for the shares maybe not to do what Tau has done, but to at least get to the top of the range at 3.5 pence. And to do that by the end of this month. Upside valid there, at least while we're on the right side of 2 pence. Finishing off with Tiger Royalties, where it's a bit of a lap of honour and a bit of an excuse to show off, in the sense that the target line was drawn up to 0.25, and the shares peaked at 0.25 today after the latest news. Upside valid while we're above the floor of the latest gap there at 0.18. So let's see if we can get a retest of 0.25 over the next day or two. That's it for me today. More updates tomorrow.